Good day everyone, I'm Jixer Pontevedra and now I discuss the theories of evolution. So, many people attempted to explain diversity in the natural world. Following are the ideas and some theories to explore diversity and relatedness of different groups of living things in the natural world by Wenji 2013, Zimmer and Imlin 2016. And now, we discuss the creationism or theistic evolution or God-guided evolution. Not all forms of creationism deny that evolutionary change takes place. Notably, proponents of theistic and evolution such as the biologists as Gray assert that evolutionary change does occur and is responsible for the history of life on Earth. Without provides that this process has been influenced by a god or gods in some meaningful sense. So, according to Francis Collins, described theistic evolution as the position that evolution is real but that it was next the theory of spontaneous generation. So, the Greek philosopher Aristotle was one of the earliest recorded scholars to articulate the theory of spontaneous generation, the notion that life can arise from non-living matter, and theorized that when parents thus generated went to reproduce, they form new species by heterogenesis. So, remember the experiment of maggots, the larvae of files. Maggots spontaneously generated on meat leaf out in open air. So, as you can see, so this picture is typical experiment to support theory of spontaneous generation where maggots arise from dead meat. Ideas on spontaneous generation existed before the Greeks and persisted for more than 200 years after the Greeks. So in fact, the scientists undertook additional experimentation to support it. So the following are some of the facts they support on. So first, the proponents of that theory cited how frogs simply seem to appear along the muddy banks of the Nile River in Egypt during the annual flooding. So next is the others observed that mice simply appeared among grain stored in barns with thatched, thatched roof with the roof leak and the green molded mic appeared. Jean Baptiste van Helmont, a 17th century film scientist, proposed that mic could arise from rugs and wet kernels live in the open container for 3 weeks. So through there are supporting True, there are supporting claims on the theory of spontaneous generation, but some scientists refute the theory. So the following are some of the experiments conducted that disprove the theory of spontaneous generation. So, Reedy's experiment disproved the theory of spontaneous generation. So, Reedy experiment demonstrated that maggots did not arise through spontaneous generation. Uncovered jars with meat have fly eggs and maggots. So, when the jars are covered, and files cannot enter and lay eggs on the meat. So, no eggs or maggots are found. This experiment promoted his contemporaries to question whether any organism could appear from non-living substance. Lamarckism or Lamarck's theory of inheritance of acquired character. So this theory was developed by Jean-Baptiste Lamarck. The idea behind the inheritance of acquired characteristics during the lifetime of an organism, that habits of the organism bring about change in its structure, and such structural changes are passed down across generations. Lamarck postulates: first, new needs. There are change occurring in the environment that creates new needs. This allows them to adapt better to the changed environment. So this effort lead to the change in habits or behavior. The new need result in the formation of new organ or part in the body. If the need continues, that organ or part also continue to grow. Second is acquisition of new character or organ. The new character can be acquired in two ways: use and disuse of organs, or law of use and disuse. So the new habits involve greater use of certain organs to meet the new need. So, and disuse or lesser use of certain other organs in changed conditions. So the continuous use of an organ or organs keep them functional and makes them stronger, larger, and more efficient. So continuous disuse of an organ or organs lead to gradual reduction in the size and to their final disappearance. Example of such structure are the vestigial organ. So effect of environment change in temperature, light, medium, food, and etc. influence the functioning and behavior of the organism. So this change in functioning and behavior change led to development of new characters. Example to support Lamarck's theory. Example 1. Long leg of shorebirds. So Lamarck argued that the long legs of shorebirds, such as this black neck-tied steed or Hemotopus mixinus, are the result of birds stretching their legs as far as possible to avoid skinning in the mud. So this stretching itself, Lamarck postulate, lighten the legs of individuals doing the stretching, and their new trait of longer legs was then also passed down to offspring. Of long neck in giraffe. According to Lamarck, giraffe evolved from deer-like ancestor. This organism had short neck and four limbs and grazed on grass. As the climate condition changed, the reach of vegetation changed to few trees. The leaves of the trees were the only source of food for this giraffe. So the ancestor of giraffe had to stretch their neck to obtain the leaves on the trees. So this gradual stretching of the neck led to increase in the neck or forelimbs. This was then transmitted to the next generation, and thus giraffe have long neck and forelimbs. Next is example number 3. Evolution of snakes according to Lamarck. The ancestors of snakes were limb and lizard-like. They live in thick jungles out of fear of mammals. So these snakes started creeping on jungle floor and living in narrow crevice or burrows for creeping among the vegetation or burrowing in the narrow crevice. So they stretched their body, which gradually became elongated. So the limbs were of no use and were a hindrance of creeping and burrowing. Those gradually disappeared. The following are the evidence in favor of mutation theory, or appearance of new variety from normal parents. First is Ancon sheep, or cold otter sheep. So, Ancon sheep are a group of domestic sheep with long bodies and very short legs, with the forelegs being crooked. The sheep was produced from an ordinary sheep in single step in 1871. The mutated sheep was short height and it was useful for farmers as they could not be able to jump from low stone fences. The unique feature of Ancon sheep are caused by a recessive dwarf mutation which often results in crippling. Is the hornless or pulled Hereford cattle. So, another evidence that support mutation theory is on modern practical breed of cattle that has experienced widespread acceptance and durability. So, pulled Herefords were developed from the horned Hereford breed, which was founded in the mid-18th century by the farmers of Hereford Country, England. The mutated pulled hornless cattle is an alternative management solution to cattle breeders who are suffering to dehorning practices, which were said to be labor-intensive, costly, and has implication for animal welfare. Last is hairless cats. The cats is a unique breed known for their hairless characteristic. Europe cat breeders have been creating the cats breed since the early 1960s. Today, hairless cat was bred from hairless cats that were created from a mutation in Canada in 1966. Although known to be hairless, the cat in fact has a coat but it's very short and the texture appears to be almost shoe-like or chamois, leather-like. They have a slender but sturdy and heavy body with distinct triangular sheep ears, wrinkly skin on their forehead, and a long and narrow tail. So some cats may not or have very few whiskers. The cat is an autosomal recessive mutation that will make an ideal companion for people with allergies